Hello, and welcome to Divine Downloads. I'm your host, Cassandra, your spiritual guide, helping you through the spiritual guidance and strategic actions that it takes for you to really get the clarity and momentum for that next level of your life. And today, I feel like this episode is so pertinent. I actually had to beg Molly to come on here because that's how urgent I feel this is and how important it is for you guys to have access to this information, because we are living in crazy times right now. And a lot of us have been thrown upside down so far about kind of what's going on financially for ourselves. I talk to so many people right now that have spouses being laid off, that have gotten pay cuts, that have gotten their work moved from full-time to part-time. And there's all of this, even for people that have transitioned from their regular 9 to 5 to working remotely. There has been a great fear of, we don't know what the future holds, how secure their job is anymore. And so one of the things I know you guys have been hearing me talking about and for years probably, about starting your own online business, and how passionate I am about us as females and as light makers. Or even if you're not a female listening to this, I know if you're listening to this, you're a light worker, you have medicine, you have something you want to share with the world, and we're all in varying degrees of putting that out there. And so I think it's really, really important to be able to feel financially secure while you're creating whatever it is you're creating. And I think right now, even above all that, I think some of us are really being called to step in and, maybe create that online business. And others of us are really being called forward to rise up and help with the financial security of our families, help with our own financial security, really adult. I think that was kind of one of the words that came up for me and my friends the other day, and we were all chatting on a Zoom, was we are in like an adulting crisis. We all have to kind of like step up and take care of our financial well-being right now, and think perhaps in a more creative, alternative way than many people have in the past. I think now more than ever, and why originally. So I brought on my good friend and the founder of the Virtual Assistant Academy, Miss Molly Rose Daly, to really share with you about the work that she does and the opportunity that her work offers for you. And, I called Molly. Me and Molly have been friends for years now. Molly actually set me up with Bridget, who many of you who have emailed me know. And Bridget has been an essential member of my team and does so much for my business. It's been incredible. But me and Molly actually knew each other years before that. and Molly had been this person in my life that I would always call whenever I had a system problem in my business, whenever I needed to figure out, how do I work out this tech thing, or how do I get my mailing listing to do this, or why isn't Teachable working like that? And that might sound like Spanish to some of you guys, but when you know the back end of a business, there are all these different kind of systems that work in it. And so, at one point, Molly sat me down and she was like, Cass, you need to get a virtual assistant. It's not working, anymore. You need someone that can really support you, that can help answer your emails, that can help, get blog posts up, make sure that you're disseminating posts to social, doing some of this back end stuff, creating invoices. I mean, the breadth of what a virtual assistant can do for your business is pretty incredible, actually. And they're also unique in their skills. But this podcast is actually not about telling you that you need to hire a virtual assistant, although you might be convinced of that by the end of this podcast. This podcast is sharing with you about the opportunity for being a virtual assistant to help you get financial security during a time where things feel really uncertain, to help you create the kind of work that won't skip a beat in these kind of circumstances. I think that was the most beautiful thing about my business right now, was that me and Bridget's work hasn't changed at all. If anything, she's gotten more hours from me since this all started, because we're doing more stuff, and Molly has been constantly telling me that they're so in demand. So anyway, me and Molly were talking on the beach. Well, I was walking on the beach. Molly was, she was in Florida. So we were on different ends of the United States. And I was telling her that this is literally like a golden goose opportunity for the person out there who has these skills, who has some extra time on their hands, who wants to create additional income. And whether that income right now is supplementing their full time job or they want to create some income while they're building their own business, being a virtual assistant is literally the most amazing gig. I think it has so many opportunities. So anyway, I'm going to stop blabbing on because I clearly have so much to say on this. Um, and Molly, why don't you just tell us a little bit about, for people that maybe don't even know what a virtual assistant is or how someone gets into that, how did you stumble upon becoming a virtual assistant or starting this virtual assistant academy?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was what I call a corporate cubicle dweller about 7 years ago, and I hated my life. Like, commuted to work 50 minutes one way just to sit there and do really meaningless work, in my opinion, and then go home. So I'm sure a lot of people can relate, especially for the commute out there. And I knew that there needed to be something more. So I quit my job cold turkey, did a little soul searching a little longer than I wanted to, at about 6 months. And I realized that I could get paid independently for the knowledge that I had, and I knew how to do a lot of things. So I started with one person, and I started doing virtual assistant work, managing a calendar, handling email, invoicing, very simple tasks. And then since then, it's grown exponentially into everything Cassandra kind of mentioned earlier, like fixing courses and building websites and all sorts of things. So you start at one level and you can expand, and there's so much growth and opportunity. So that's kind of how I got into it. I started with one client who I still work with today. We've become kind of business partners in some regard, and I've taken on several clients and tons of experience ever since. So it's been a
Oh,
good journey.
absolutely like that. And I feel like that is the opportunity. I feel that way about Bridget as well right now. Like she is much more of a partner to me. I don't call her my virtual assistant.
Hmm.
She is essentially like my online business manager, you
Yes.
know? And so I think that's a cool thing too, is that there is so much space for growth. When you, especially if you align yourself with like another small business owner that you're
Hmm.
supporting and you're kind of fulfilling the gaps that they need help with. And then you really do become this kind of yin yang structure, and a really imperative part of their business. And, one of the things that I think was really interesting with Molly was, like she said, she started with this customer and then she created the virtual assistant academy because, one, she saw how profitable it was. She saw how she was literally, little backstory on me and Molly, we're also world travelers pre COVID-19. And so one of our top priorities in life is to be able to work remotely. And that was similar for when I started my business and why I'm such an online business advocate. Because if you're someone that likes to travel, or you're someone, even if you have kids at home, right? Like my Bridget, who you'll get to hear from later in this podcast, because I wanted to bring her on to share her real life story. Like, don't say
Yes.
anything too bad. No, I'm kidding.
Just
I
wait
think
for
I'm.
her accent. It's worth it
Oh my
to
God,
listen.
she is just the sweetest voice. She is like a doll.
Hmm.
But she has two kids. And so it allows her to like still drop her kids off, like make play dates, and like she gets the work she needs to get done with me in whatever times. Often Bridget will be working at night because her babies are asleep, and she finds that's like her most productive time. And so it's a really beautiful thing to have that flexibility, which is why I think on so many levels it is such a dream job.
Absolutely. I mean, I've traveled the world every year since I quit my job, my corporate job 6 years ago, and I've kept my income up, and I've doubled my corporate income. Of course, I'm getting older, so it would anyway in corporate America, but I'm making way more than I would have been previously, working less hours, tons of flexibility. It's not too good to be true. We do work hard, and we do a lot of great work, but it's completely changed my life, honestly.
I mean, I think, and so for anyone that's out there, and I think why this opportunity I think is particularly auspicious for you guys that are in my audience is that I know that a lot of you, like I said, are light workers. You are people that have been called to kind of do your own thing, share your own medicine. You kind of march to the beat of your own drum. You don't necessarily feel fulfilled from like maybe the same kind of careers and jobs other people might. And one of the things I'm constantly telling my clients when they're launching businesses is that you need a VC for your business, right? And what I mean by that is like you need a financial support while you're creating your business. And a lot of times what happens is, one of the things I remember when I first started out my business, one of the things I told my parents, I was like, I need to find a part-time job that doesn't drain me, that feels good, where I can utilize my skills, where I make money, where I can still have time and creative brain power left to start my thing on the side. And I wish back in the day when I was starting my business, I knew about being a VA,
Mhm.
because I truly don't think there is like a better job for someone that's in that position right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you think about the flexibility you need when you're starting your own business and needing that to happen because you might be doing interviews like we are right now or working on client work and you can set the cadence for when you work and how much you work when you're a virtual assistant. So it's a perfect complement.
So what is someone that's, let's say someone that's listening right now that has never been an assistant, virtual or otherwise before, right? And is
Mhm.
thinking like, okay, this could be a creative way to make some income right now or to compensate for some income maybe I lost, and sounds really good, but what does it take and what skills might I need to have to even make this like a possibility for me to get a job?
Sure, absolutely. So I think that there's some tangible skills that you need to have, and then there's also some personality things. So I'm going to talk about both. So personally, like you have to be responsible. You have to be dedicated to the client that you're taking on. Like they're relying on you, just like you rely on Bridget every day, every week. It's important that you take that very seriously. Like someone's investing in you. So you have to know that. Like you might be running your other side business, but this also is a huge priority for you. So be honest with yourself and be willing to take that on.
And I
Um,
just want to stop you there and emphasize
yeah.
that, because I actually think that is a great learning tool for someone also, regardless of where you are. If you're the person that, wants that flexible work from home job because you're a mom, and you want to make some extra income right now, perfect. If you even are that person that is thinking like, could this be supplemental while I'm building something else? I think this is a great way for you to get a peek inside someone's business, right?
Mhm.
And to learn like, what does it actually take? What are the processes that it actually takes? And how do they run their systems? And to really show up for that fully with that responsibility of being like, okay, like I am a legitimate essential piece to this machine right now,
Yep.
and contributing. And I think it could be an incredible learning opportunity too.
Absolutely. And you're getting paid to learn essentially, right from the back
Yeah.
end. The third thing that I think is really important is having that come to the table with solutions when you find a problem. If there's virtual assistants out there already that are listening to this, if you shift your mindset in that way, you will be golden to your client. Come with the solution, fix the error that you see while you're doing a task that was delegated to you, and you are a
Oh,
huge
that's
asset.
that's priceless. I will say that is something that, Bridget and me have been working together probably for over 2 years now. I don't even remember how long.
I think so.
um, it feels like forever. I don't remember business without her, but she does that all the time. And some of the things I appreciate the most about her are not even the things I assign her.
Yeah.
Are the times when I'll get the random text during the day, hey, I was thinking about how we're doing this. Like, what if I pitched this? You
Right.
know, because it warms my heart to know that she's thinking strategically for the business and that she does feel invested
Mhm.
in the business, and like you said, like really being solution oriented.
Yeah, absolutely. So I preach that to my virtual assistants and hope that they all exude that. More of the tangible side of what you know, and these like the tech skills. Honestly, being a virtual assistant, there's a very vague definition of virtual assistant, and so you can get hired to do something as basic, like I said, as email management, calendar scheduling, and invoicing, maybe some travel booking, kind of executive assistant kind of roles, and then you can build up from there into more of the tech side. So are you really good at social media? You could niche down and be a social media VA. or you're really great at creating courses, or that's something you're interested in. It's very figure outable. And, um, and so you could certainly be that kind of VA. I kind of am a jack of all trades. So there's a term out there called operations business manager, which I think all virtual assistants will end up being regardless, because they just learn the skill set. They know the solution that their client is desiring. So they're able to just connect all the systems together and have it be a well-oiled machine and be a part of the strategy. So I'm kind of taking you from 0 to 360 here, because there's a ton of stuff in between. Just know that if you feel like there's not really anything that I know that I can do, or what skills would I offer, 5 minutes conversation with me, or this, I have a skill set guide you can walk through that will provide. It's in you. So you're already doing stuff probably personally that you can be doing. If you're on social media, you can be a VA, right?
Yeah,
So
if you're entering emails or creating invoices or anything like that, I feel like
yeah.
there are so many people that have so many unique needs. And I think one of the other things that I love to point out that I actually think is not only a great quality in a virtual assistant, but just a great quality in general, and anyone that's an entrepreneur or human probably, but is someone that's like literally everything is Googleable or YouTubeable right now. And
Hmm.
so if you have a strong desire, and this is the difference between someone that like, and I know you guys are listening, you're my people, so you are the kind of person that is resourceful. And but that is something that truly makes a difference. I went through a few assistants before I found Bridget. And I can say that was one of the biggest things was that, am I getting asked questions? Am I getting asked to explain things that someone could find a tutorial on? Right? Like all of these course platforms, even myself, because I'm not a very tech savvy person, right? Going into YouTube and being like, how do you do this on that? Or looking in the FAQs on the thing and searching. I think that's something that if you have a willingness, if you have a strong desire, if you're willing to show up and be responsible, then if someone gives you assignment and you don't know how to do it, within like 5-10 minutes, you can probably find a video on the internet that will explain to you exactly
Hmm.
how to do it. Plus, a lot of people that you might work for, like myself, who have had people work for them in the past, actually have documents explaining their processes and kind of walking you through how to do it. So it truly just takes someone that's really willing to learn
Hmm.
and show up for someone.
Yeah, and what's really fantastic about it is once you learn something, you have it. It becomes a part of your toolkit, right? So it's a lot of fun. Like I kind of nerd out about the work that I do. I'm a systems person, so it's a lot different than the entrepreneurs we serve. They're visionaries, and we're their integrators. We're the people that are implementing all of their ideas, and it's fun because you're the one that brings it to life. So there's a lot of excitement with the job as well.
I love it. And so tell me a little bit more about your virtual assistant academy. So if someone, let's talk about the logistics right now. If someone's really interested and is like, okay, wow, this sounds like a real viable option for me right now,
Hmm.
and I want to explore it, what would the next steps be for them?
So, the Virtual Assistant Academy is really the business side of running your VA business. So, from the beginning, this is everything that I wish I had known 6 years ago that I've just put together to allow you to effectively figure out what your skill sets are, who are you serving, how are you finding them, how are you pitching yourself, kind of the identity and marketing side of things. And then we get into more of the nitty gritty numbers. So, how are you invoicing and pricing to make a profit? What do you do come tax time? Because that'll change for you. Contracts, proposals, all the paperwork kind of behind it. It's very simplified. Everything's kind of handed to you in a nice package so you can take it and use it for your clients. And then we get into communication, which is, I think, the entrepreneur and the VA would actually really benefit from. So you're able to teach them something right off the gate, out of the gate. But how are you communicating with your client? How are you onboarding them? And then on a weekly basis, being tasked, communicating back and forth, because it can be really overwhelming. Entrepreneurs are what I kind of coin as squirrely because they have these ideas that fly at them all the time.
Yes, I
So we're we're
am.
we're the ones catching them, trying to stay organized. So we cover a lot of that, and then we get into outsourcing. So what if there's something that you can't do? How do you still provide that resource for your client and keep that business in house? There's some bonus tutorials on confidence and my my what I mentioned earlier about being the problem solver, how we do that. And then we're working on building out a tech suite. So everything is on YouTube. So that's the beautiful thing about this from the tech side of things. So if you're getting started, you have the VA Academy to lead you through building your business. And then you can start each week learning a new tool, new process. And we're working on bringing that in house as well. So you'll have both resources.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like it really is. It's a complete kind of like business in a box setup
Hmm.
for someone that's just ready to do this. It's like, this sounds like a great opportunity. Molly's actually worked with one of my previous clients, my previous client who was a gem. She was a health coach, left her full-time job, wanted some supplemental income, but having more hours to build her business. And she went through the virtual assistant academy, and was Molly was even able to place her with
Hmm.
someone because she had so that's another beautiful thing that happens. While it's not guaranteed, if you go through the virtual assistant academy, Molly kind of gets to know you. She gets to know your skill set, what your vibe is, and she's constantly getting people that are coming to her asking for virtual assistants. Before I even hopped on this call, she was telling me that like the virtual assistant world is even ramped up now
It's
with
insane.
we
You think, yeah, during this time, like things would kind of level out, but all the business owners have this time now to finish all these projects that they've had for years and years on their minds, and we're getting tasked heavily. So the
yeah,
demand is there. It's
I can
there.
say that with me and like all of my entrepreneurs in my little mastermind circle, like we are overloading our
Yeah.
VAs right now, in a really good way if they want to make money,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, to to help like them keep up with, just like you were saying, all the ideas that are coming through. So many online entrepreneurs right now are pivoting or adjusting things based on what's going on in the world and making more appropriate offers, I guess, to the climate. And so anytime, someone's pivoting or shifting something like that, that's when they could use a lot of that extra support.
Hmm.
So I love that. And I think that's the thing. And that's really why I wanted to bring Molly on. I wanted to have her share this opportunity with you and share what she does with you, because I have been, I've been kind of connecting people through Molly here and again, like I said, with my client who now, has VA work and has her health coaching business starting off with clients. So she's able to allow, like, one of the things I always tell my people is that you never want to put all the pressure on the baby out the gate. So when you have that business, whether it's your health coaching business or some online thing you're getting going or whatnot, if that's you, it's so important to have something that's, one, giving you structure to your day, giving you tasks to do, like feeling that sense of accomplishment of completing stuff that is so necessary for all of our mental health,
Yes.
and also making that supplemental income. And I think what you're going to see right now, I think my projection, quite honestly, is that in the next 6 months, we're going to see like VAs skyrocket. I think it's going to become so in demand because now there's no difference when so many of us now adjusting to remote work. There's no difference of having that, that assistant that was in your office versus having someone virtually, because
Hmm.
everyone's virtually right now. And we have all of these companies, so many companies right now that had brick and mortar shops that are now trying to move everything online, that are going into Zoom, that are going into these platforms that are not their, not their strength, not their thing, that are going to look for that support to help them navigate the extra workload that's coming now. And so I think this is an auspicious time for any of you guys that want to hop on this opportunity, because I think it's just going to become more in demand. And the more in demand it comes, the more, you want to get in on it before that first wave. Go through the virtual assistant academy, set up your business, let Molly like kind of know about you and like know what your vibe is, know what your strengths are, and maybe match make you with someone, or at least point you guys in the right directions for, how to look for jobs. Because I think they are a plentiful.
Yes, yes. For those becoming virtual assistants and the entrepreneurs out there, we also have virtualassistantmanagement.com. So you can go there if you're looking for a VA. And if you go through my program and get certified and we onboard you, that's where we can put you to be placed. So you can kind of see it in real time, see the virtual assistants there. Everyone has a profile. So it is an opportunity. We've had 40 virtual assistants this past year, and I think our placement rate is about 92%. Like,
Wow.
can't do much better. So
Yeah.
we're still working on it. And for some, they get in and another opportunity comes about. So it might just be that it wasn't their thing, but that's a rare case. So we're
That's
proud of that.
amazing. I mean, that's just an outstanding placement, right? And
Yep.
I literally, every time me and Molly touch base on the phone, she's telling me that she's got like a couple more requests for VAs,
Yeah.
and
And I need the
and so
VAs.
I exactly. I hear that all the time. And I feel that that's just, it's kind of what, just to bring it all back to what we talk about in any time in our lives, right? We can look into fear and lack and limitation, or we can look into love and abundance and possibilities. And so I wanted to bring Molly on here because I feel like this is a beautiful example of the abundance and possibilities available in this time when so many people, and it's nobody's fault. You watch the news and you can easily fall into the lack and limitation, all these people fighting for unemployment and all, these people that don't have job security anymore. And so just by a little pivot of our mindset, we can now see that here is this beautiful opportunity that is coming of this, that we can pivot and we can shift. And who knows, maybe even at the end of this, you have a better job than you even dreamed of,
Mhm.
right? You have a more flexible job than you even dreamed of.
Yep. That's
So
beautiful.
I love it. So another really special thing that I want to just close with is Molly is offering, which she's never done before. She is
Mm-mm.
offering group coaching for this
Yeah.
round, which I'm super psyched about. You want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So in this state that we're in, I think connection is more important than anything. And as we're placing virtual assistants, I want to get to know you. I want to make sure that you are 100% up to speed and all your questions are answered, and you're the best virtual assistant out the gate that we can do. Like my very best to do that. I will do my very best to do that. So in order to structure this with your business academy registration, we're starting a live program on April 15th. And so it's group coaching once a week on Zoom. We'll add in probably some guest speakers and some extra stuff because it's fun, and we'll have a good group together. And from there, we'll go through each module as a group, and we'll be able to kind of check in, how's your website looking if you're going that direction, or your LinkedIn, or what questions you have about your skill set or the client that you might be pitching this week. Whatever it is, we're going to be there to help you. So I'm really excited about that. I think getting together and adding that value is going to be really important. And you'll have a group of virtual assistants that are going through the same thing you are. So I'd love
Which
to
is
welcome you.
amazing.
Mhm.
You're gonna have a bunch of running buddies, as I like to call
Yeah.
it, that you'll be able to stay connected with even after the process. And also, I just think so important for momentum to have that support, to just be like, okay, I'm showing up to this call every week. If something's blocking me or I'm feeling stuck around something, I can ask Molly, and I won't skip a beat. And I think it's like you said, I think that's what we all need right now is more connection, and more assistance, right? I
Yeah.
think when we're in life circumstances, whether it's this or if you've ever been in like you're like going through a breakup, or you're dealing with like a loved one being, sick or something like that, right? We have that like extra stuff, which all of us have, like a collective extra thing right now. It's so easy to go into like anxiety and overwhelm and all of that. And so to have someone there with you every week, just ensuring that you stay on track and keeping you on touch is like everything. Um,
Yes.
so I'm gonna put the links below if you want to check out the Virtual Assistant Academy. If you sign up for it through my link, I'm also gonna throw in my Earn with Intention course, which is my financial abundance course, which helps you kind of blast through any limiting beliefs around abundance. And I really feel like it also gets you into not only creative ways to make abundance, but also opening up the pathways for you to receive more money than
Yes.
perhaps you were willing to receive before. So I think it's a perfect combination with the VA Academy to just be not only what I call in in my languaging, kind of like creating a pipe hole for people to pay you is what you're doing with Molly. And
Yeah.
then we're working on the energetics of it. So even more money flows down that pipe.
And that stuff
And
works. I've done her programs. They work.
yes, yes, I make Molly do them. I do it. I love it. And so you can sign up for the link below. And if you're curious just about learning more, you want a little bit more feel for Molly's teaching, she's doing an awesome virtual assistant boot camp that's totally free, where she's going to tell you the top 3 things you need to know about being a virtual assistant. And you'll kind of get a little taste test of Molly. And if you want more confirmation, as if this podcast isn't enough, I don't know. I feel like a lot of you guys are feeling the tingles, or feeling like you just said some prayers about this. Maybe you've been journaling about, I'm ready for, I need an opportunity right now. I need a light at the end of the tunnel. And I know this was that for so many of you. So thank you so much, Molly, for being willing to get on here and share your gifts with us, share your medicine. It's an honor as your friend to see you spreading your light and really uplifting women all over the world with your work.
Thank you, Cassandra. You're the person that makes us do it really well, and I'm happy to have you in my corner, so I appreciate it.
Hey guys, so we're back with an added bonus to Molly's Virtual Assistant Academy episode. You guys have heard me talk about my Bridget so much in the episode that I thought it would be a great idea to actually bring Bridget on and have her give you a real life account of what it's like to be a VA. For those of you who interest is piqued and you're curious about what that looks like and how that would work with your lifestyle, your schedule, and also for so many of you guys that I'm sure are listening that have probably emailed with Bridget, because if you've ever emailed with me, you've actually emailed with Bridget. Bridget is the queen of my inbox. And that was probably one of the first reasons why I ended up hiring Bridget, was because I was so overwhelmed with my inbox at the time, and I saw how much it was taking me out of my business. And Miss Molly, who was a friend of mine, was just saying, you really need a VA, Cass. Just get a VA. But I wanted to bring Bridget on to give you her side of the story, what it looks like in real time, and what you could expect if you're interested in this. But first, Bridget, why don't you tell us what made you decide to be a VA, or like open to that idea?
Yeah. So I was working full time, and then I have a husband that goes away a lot for work, and I had children, and I wanted the best of both worlds. I still wanted to have some independence and something that was mine, something I could pour my energy into, but also spend as much time as possible with my children and not be having to make difficult decisions about where I wanted to be at what time. So I was friends with Molly Rose, and she told me about her course, and I had a girlfriend go through it first, and I was kind of like, okay, I can do this. Like, it was completely out of my comfort zone. I'd worked in pharmacy and retail, and I was like, well, I know how to check inbox, and I love learning, and I love helping people, basically. Like, I like being the left brain to people's right brain. So Cassandra's got so many ideas and is so creative and is so wonderful about, all the creativity side. And I love being her left brain, being like, okay, the logistics behind this, who do we need to contact, how are we going to schedule this, time frames, time zones, everything like that. So I'm naturally like that anyway. I love organizing. So it was a natural fit. And so I did the course and was really excited to do it because it was all new, but I was excited for that challenge. I kind of was I was at the point where I was like, I'm going to make this work. And then, I landed Cassandra, and I was really anxious at first because when you're starting something that it wasn't like a job where, you already knew the run of the ropes. It was something that was new, but I was super eager to learn. And I think the most important thing, I was upfront about, like, hi, I don't know that answer, but I'm definitely going to find out, and we're going to get an answer. And kind of every step that I did towards that, and being in that uncomfortable zone of being like, I don't know this, but I'm going to find out. And then just the confidence over the next year was incredible. because it was like I had so much confidence in myself being able to take on new tasks, and that I was able to accomplish that. And Cassandra was always so sweet and very thankful for everything that I did for her. So it really boosted me up. And yeah, I just remember like it probably a year and like 18 months being like looking back and being like, if I hadn't found this for myself, I'd be in a really different mindset kind of thing. I had something that was mine, yet I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything at all. When my husband was back from work, I was able to spend the time that I wanted with him, and then just set really clear guidelines for myself about, when I would take time away for work, but it was able to move in my schedule. So I can't rave about it enough, and I'm just so glad that I found it, basically, because it's been amazing for me.
I love that. And I think what you said is literally perfect. Like, you are the left brain to my right brain. That is the best. I was trying to explain that before on the podcast, where I was like, Bridget completes me. And I was like, I couldn't run this without her. And that's why I also was saying, like, before you, it's so interesting, because just from my perspective, before you, I had I think 4 different assistants who were like, I don't want career-ish assistants, like they had been assistants for other people before. And I will say, Bridget, within like, I think it was in the first month, I called Molly and was like, this woman is gold, because she, like, that quality that she said was the most important quality that I had really missed in a lot of people. I had some people that were lucky enough to have it and some people that had it less. But I think of the quality that makes, and I used to say this with a lot of the people that used to work with me were aspiring entrepreneurs. So they kind of wanted to work for me to get a peek inside my business. And I used to always say that I can tell how successful a person's going to be by whether or not they have that willingness to find the answer. Right?
Yes.
It's such a simple quality that makes a world of difference, literally in like anything. Right? Are you willing to just Google it? Everything is Googleable. You can, Bridget will literally call. There'll be some things that will come. We deal with like WordPress and ActiveCampaign, and literally we'll find something that we think will help us, and neither one of us will have ever heard of it before. And Bridget will do her research on it and like figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's so valuable. And I think that also just speaks to it. You don't have to have like any specific skill set. I think going into it, it's more so having that willingness to really, like you said, like, do you enjoy being helpful? Do you enjoy being inquisitive?
And I do see it like allowing so much more space for you to succeed. Like, I love seeing the opportunities. Like, I can't imagine if you're having to spend the time in your inbox just doing, basic replies or basic scheduling things. Like, you wouldn't be able to say yes to as many things as you could, or just the mental, how much it would drain. So I love being able to be like, I'm helping you and helping you succeed, and we're succeeding, because the more work for you, the more work for me. Like, it's a team, like we're building each other up like that. So I love seeing that.
Absolutely. And I think that's what happens when you get it as a virtual assistant. I think if you get a good pairing, like, it ends up feeling like more of a team and much less of like you're an assistant. Like, I definitely feel like Bridget is more of like a partner in crime, so to speak, with me, and a backbone of the business than, someone that like just like she handles some of the most important parts of the business. Like, Bridget handles pretty much like all the payments, all the invoicing, all the contracts, like a lot of stuff like that. Which is also, I think, for someone that's just interested and curious, there's a lot of things you can learn as you go with that and figure it out. But
the more learning you do, like, you're only ever building your skill set. So I now get so much more interested in just other little avenues you find yourself down, with back end of a website and stuff like that. And at first it seems so like, oh my gosh, like, don't touch anything, I'll break it all. Like, but then just finding like, oh, this makes that work. And then you're only benefiting yourself by learning more, because I'm able to come to you and be like, no, I'm familiar with that now. Nope, I can do that for you. I can take care of that super quickly. So yeah, just that eagerness to learn more and find the area that you're uncomfortable with, and being like, okay, how can I get comfortable here?
And so how is the working, because I know a lot of people right now are thinking of remote jobs and working from
Mm.
home and having that flexibility, and also having sustainable jobs. Like that was one of the things that I was saying. I was like, you know, we're dealing with certain things about how our business is impacted with this environment, but for the
Mm.
most part, I feel like this is a very secure job, you know,
Mhm.
especially being in the online space, being remote. It doesn't matter if you can't come into the office, nothing is affected by your job.
Yeah.
Um, and how does that look for you working from home and finding your groove hourly wise?
Yeah, I definitely have to, like, something I'm definitely blessed in is how, yeah, my work life didn't have to change as much with everything going on, which I really feel lucky with. Um, as finding, as far as finding like an hour, like hourly groove and stuff like that, I had to find times that I felt I was most beneficial. So sometimes it would be waking up really early in the morning before the house woke up and getting ahead of things, a clear brain that way. And other times it would be late at night after everyone's gone down for the night and it's just me catching up on things. But definitely um, making sure that the time I devoted to that was devoted to that. And it really made, it was really nice in a way because it would be, I would respect myself and respect you and the work I was doing and being, making sure I allowed that kind of, this needs to be blocked off for this only. I'm not trying to do anything else, or I'm not doing it in a space where I'm distracted. And yeah, it's nice to see my family, see them respect me in that way as well. Like, see, like, okay, she's got this to do, and I'm setting a good example for my children. Like, this is something I go away and do. I'm not. So yeah, I love that too. That I'm doing that for, and yeah, just seeing their opinion of me and what I'm doing change as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is really nice. And
yeah,
I also nice too because I think a lot of, not that everyone that's listening to this is a mom, but I think that a
yeah,
lot of moms kind of struggle with that, with trying to find the balance of, it's hard when you have little ones to have a full-time job if you don't have a full-time nanny or if,
yeah,
whatnot, right? And it's a
yeah,
one of the one of the only jobs I know
yeah,
where you actually you could feel like you fully show up for someone and
yeah.
also get to see your kids and have your kids
It
around.
is, yeah, the best of both worlds. And something that I think about a lot too is when, the children are older and they start going to school more, I can start expanding more or start scaling down more. Like it's all under my control. My family's from Australia, so I can go back there for a month at a time, and I'm not having to tell an employee like, "Hey, I'm going to be MIA for a month," which can't happen in a lot of businesses. But there I can, as long as I have internet, I can work anywhere. So we go home to my husband's family for Christmas for a week or two, and he's having to deal with his schedule for work, and I love being able to say to him like,
Did I lose you? No. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so you're just saying you go home to your husband's family for Christmas.
yes. And so yeah, basically I love being able to say to anyone, wherever there's internet I can work. So he is probably going to be moving a lot with his work as well, and so we can go to another state across the country, and I'm good to go. There's nothing, yeah, holding me down to the place too, which is a lot of like when I mention this to other friends who aren't necessarily married or have children yet, then and they do want to travel and they want this and they feel like that whole like, oh, I'm going to work and then stop work and save up for travel for 6 months. It's like you've got something where you can do both. Like you can go to Bali for 3 weeks while working and everything like that. And that's gold for people. I think that's gold.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's everything. That's why I love my business so much, because I have
Mm,
that ability too. And I think that's one of the things that Molly talks about a lot about
yeah.
VA life, because Molly is a big traveler as well. And it's so nice to be able to have those moments where you can go and you can work. And even for the most part, there have been times where, Bridget will have something going on for like the weekend or whatever. And she'll be like, okay, this weekend I'm doing this or whatever.
Yeah.
Can I get to it on Monday? Right. And
Yeah.
like most of the work, it's like we can always like move it around, so that even if you
Yeah.
need, like if there are certain days that you need to be present with your family, or you just have something else you got going on, or you're on a plane,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Or
It's
just letting you know, if anything comes in the inbox, I'll be checking it, Monday evening if you want to make sure nothing urgent's coming in between now and then or anything like that. Just
yeah,
yeah, great
it's a
communication. It's
it's
key.
a it's a flexible dream job, I think, in that way.
Yeah.
And I think especially if it's like with everything, it's who you get paired with.
Mm.
um but let's talk a little bit about that. So you went through the virtual assistant academy, and
Hmm.
then I actually don't even know this, so how long how
I
long
stalked
did
you for 5 years, and then I.
how did you end up? So was it a long process for you getting placed? Did you like talk to other people? Were there other people that you have worked with as well as me? What was that process like for you? For someone
Yeah.
that's like, okay, I'm thinking about doing this virtual assistant academy, but then I'm
Yeah.
worried that if I do it, I won't know how to actually find someone to hire me.
Yeah. So when I finished the course, I was joined a lot of kind of forums and Facebook groups that would place people, but I found those really overcrowded kind of thing and really overwhelming. So Molly Rose was actually able to put me in contact. One of the things she recommended in her course is just start talking about it to people, like and just it was easy to do to friends because I was excited about it and it was new and I mentioned it to another girlfriend, and she put me in contact with a entrepreneur that she knew that she was doing graphic design work for. And just by word of mouth, I was put in contact with her. And then Molly Rose, I kind of had to sit down and really think about how many hours I was willing to give, because some people can come to this and be like, hey, for 40 hours a week, I'm ready to dive in. I'm ready to find a couple of clients or one client that wants all that work or wherever it was. So I was happy to work with, I wanted to start, instead of having lots of kind of clients and doing an hour here or there, I would rather focus my energy and build a relationship with like one or two clients and then really build my skill set and build the relationship with those. So I had, one client, and then Molly Rose recommended me to you just for some basic email maintenance and everything there. So Molly Rose was able to pair me with you right away. And then from there, but I've had to, there's been friends of friends who have mentioned, hi, I'm doing this work for this. So I know another virtual assistant or other virtual assistants that are passing on clients. So really, once you're starting in the network, and Molly Rose's students all have a Facebook group as well, just being in that community, but the natural referrals just came, which I thought was, I remember Molly Rose talking about it in the course and being like, well, I don't know anyone that's naturally in that world. But just when people start talking, it kind of kept popping up. And yeah, then your clients kind of talk to their friends and say, like, oh, I know someone that does this for me if you need help with this, or like, yeah.
Well, yeah, 1,000%. Because I think especially if you're good and you have that like willingness to learn, word
Yeah.
travels so fast amongst, like, I'll
Yeah.
just say, like, my entrepreneur community. We
Yeah.
share resources so much. Like someone will be like, well, now Bridget does great graphic design, but before, I remember like we had one graphic design person that literally we like passed around, right?
Yeah.
Um, and Molly, the advantage of doing the course is that Molly is constantly getting inquiries from people that want VA.
Yes. Yeah.
So she really does try to get to know everyone that goes through that course so she can kind of match make.
Yeah, find
And
your
I
skill
think
set. Yeah.
that's what she's become really a ninja at, is being
Mm.
able to like know the two personalities. So some people will actually call her, like people like me will call her and say, hey, this is my vibe. This is what I need someone for. These are going to be the most important. This is how flexible I'm going to be on days and times and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then Molly will go look at her VAs and say, okay, I think that this your personality fit will work well for this. Um,
Yes.
and I love the other thing that you said. I think, you really decide how much you want to work.
Mm.
You can get a lot of people, like you can get started with just 5 hours a week.
Mm.
If you want to do something, I mean, you could literally have a 9 to 5 right now and be doing 5 hours a week if you wanted on
Yeah.
weekends, right? While you were like saving extra money or whatnot. And then,
Yeah, which is another thing too. Like some people Uber on the side, and yeah, some you can easily do this on the side too, like students.
yeah, like
Yeah,
great,
when
great
you're
way.
at college and everything.
And then if you're someone that also like, if you want more hours than that, then I think that's something that you can also put out there. And you can not only put that out there to Molly and the Facebook groups and the community like that, but if once you're working with someone, right,
Mm.
you're able to say, hey, okay, how many hours can you give me?
Yeah.
And and if they're like, okay, listen, I can only give you X amount because that's just what makes sense for my business right now,
Mm.
then then you can also say, okay, well, just so you know, like if you have any friends, like I would like an extra 5 hours a week, I'm available
Mm.
for that. And I know a lot of people in my community as well that share VAs, right?
Mm.
When they're starting out, especially when they don't have a lot of time to give to a VA and a
Mm.
VA wants a more full-time position, they'll be like, hey, okay, well, I have my VA. She's great. I can only give her like 10 hours right now because the business doesn't really require more yet. Do you need someone for 5 hours or 10 hours or whatnot? So I think it
Mm.
is something that once you get your feet in the pond, so to speak, you can grow it and you can scale up or scale down. It's kind of
Yeah.
nice too, because when it's like, I know, like when it's like around the holidays or when it's back to school for the kids or something like that, maybe you don't want those extra hours during those
Yeah.
times, you know, and then you have a lull where you're like, hey, I have way too much time on my hands. Maybe I'll take a couple extra hours. And
Yeah.
similarly, like, you can have those conversations with the people that you work with, which is nice, right?
Yeah.
Bridget can say, hey, there'll be some weeks where she's like, okay, I'm kind of crazy this week, and so I can make sure that I'm just giving her like top priority stuff to do that week,
Yeah.
nothing excessive. And then other weeks she can let me know, hey, I have a little bit more time on my hands this week if there's any like outreach or anything you need me to do, right? And then I can think,
Yeah.
okay, what can I utilize that hour for? So I think it's really flexible. Thank you for coming on, Bridget. I'm so
Oh, you're
glad
so
to like
welcome.
give them a face to your name. And also, let's just close with what is, maybe I'll let you choose. You can either say,
Hi.
um, you can either answer, what is like one or two things you would want to say to someone that's considering being a VA now,
Mm.
or you can say, what's like maybe like what's the kind of person that you think should totally be like go this route and go to academy, and someone that you totally don't think this is for, whichever one you want to answer.
Um, okay, I think I'll do the second one.
Okay, I think that's helpful.
Yeah, because I think we kind of touched on it already as far as just that work ethic and mindset that you have going to any workplace or business and everything. And I think if you've been told you're a good employer, like you probably already know it already, but I think this course is absolutely perfect for um, someone who's okay with saying that they don't know something, but they're willing to learn, and who likes seeing people around them succeed and push people up and everything, and who's like, I see what Cassandra does and I'm like in awe of it, but I would crumble under that. Like I would not be able to do that. Like I want to help you do it, but I don't want to be in the spotlight or anything like that. So I love being able to assist and help and grow you. And yeah, just someone that has a great work ethic and loves to learn and is kind of eager to really expand their skill set. Like if I told myself kind of 2 years ago the stuff I'm doing now, that's the kind of stuff I flash back at, being like, oh my God, like I was, and I love now because, my husband will ask me like, actually, can you help me with this kind of little computer thing? And I was not that person, but I was like, yeah, sure. And just being able to get faster at it and better at it. And yeah, just be proud of myself again. So definitely someone who's willing to learn. I don't want to say people pleaser because I feel like that has like a negative connotation to it, but just, yeah, someone that likes kind of
like
doing things for people. You know what I mean? Like I love doing it and you being like, thank you, that's great work. And I'm like,
and also I think maybe what people pleaser is like, you're like a very like almost like, this is not a real word or whatever, but like like an intuitive problem solver.
yeah,
Like Bridget's like
yes,
always thinking of like, how can she make something more efficient or make my life easier, or like do
yes,
something like just naturally. I don't have to like try to
yeah.
or do that.
And a lot of the times I was describing it to people, I'm like, it's things I do for my own life, for people I love around me, for my family. It's things that I do, like, being like, okay, how can we streamline this? Like, I love thinking like that. Like, how can we cut out like 6 steps of this? Or how can we make this a quicker, faster process? But now I get paid to do it. Like, so it's like, why not get paid for it with something like to do it that way? But someone that is not towards is someone, probably someone that's not that self-motivated. Like I know kind of people hear the word assistant and they think like, sit down, get told what to do it, and that's it. It's not that. It's learning, it's seeing like, okay, well, I learned that when she replies to these emails, this is normally what she says. Like I can put that together, or like I can make this, like suggest things for her. Like a lot of the time it's like, well, let me put a draft together and then you can start from there, or stuff like that. Like being intuitive and seeing like, okay, yeah, recognizing what needs are going to come. Like, oh, I'm moving, so I'm like, okay, I can put in like a request to change address or stuff like that. Like start changing all the addresses and stuff like that. Yeah, I love being that for people.
I love that. And so I definitely think that's a natural characteristic that makes you really successful as a VA. And it's not for someone, I think exactly what you said. It's not for someone that's not willing, that doesn't get joy from seeing other people succeed or grow, that doesn't get joy from like supporting and that. And I know that might sound like saying like a negative thing. I'm not saying that in a negative way, but I think you're either someone that like enjoys being part of the team, enjoys like helping someone, being that backbone, thinking for them, wanting to care. I don't think, you could absolutely be a VA, and depending on perhaps who you're working with, you could probably request like a to-do list, right?
Yeah.
And be like, when we started off with Bridget, and I'll go through and I'll give her some things to do.
Yeah, I definitely needed a lot more assistance. Yeah.
But, now I barely have to tell Bridget what to do. She just kind of, I'll come up with, things if something comes up. But I do think you need to be self-motivated, especially if you want to flourish, and you need to get joy from being that kind of like creative problem solver.
Yeah.
And if that's, not for you, then maybe I don't think, and similarly, you need to be someone that's willing. There is a bit of selflessness in it, I think.
Yeah.
Like being willing to really, under the hours or the context of like when you're working for someone, really put like on like, okay, how can I help them right now?
Which is like, it can be a bit of a relief sometimes. It's lovely to be able to hop on the computer sometimes and being like, okay, like Cassandra's world or whatever, this client's world, like how we're going to do this. And then sometimes then when you take a step back into your own issues, problems, life, whatever's going on there, it's nice to have that kind of like redirective energy for a little bit, because it's just, it kind of can give you perspective on the things in your own world, being like, okay, I've stepped away from it for a second. And yeah, it's a lovely, lovely break sometimes.
I've talked to Molly about this, because I have this joke with Molly that because she's like likes to tell me that I'd probably be like the worst VA ever, but but I was like, I disagree. I disagree on this. Why? Because of exactly what you just said. I think sometimes when it's your own stuff, it's like almost like too close. It's like annoying when you have to answer your own emails. When you're calling up Verizon for yourself, when you're calling
Yeah.
up the airline for yourself, it can kind of be annoying and tedious. But getting to do that on the clock.
Yeah, it's more motivating to be like, yeah, how much work can I crush out in this 1 hour that I've gotten? Like, it's way
Yeah.
more than this, like, I have endless amounts of days and time to do this in. You're much less motivated. Yes, I know. Yeah, because I look at my own inbox and I'm like, but then Cassandra's inbox, I'm like,
Exactly. That's
yeah,
how I imagine it would be too. Like if I had
yeah,
someone else's inbox to check, I'd be like,
yeah,
visit it. But my own
yeah.
inbox, I'm like, no, Bridget can touch that. I don't want to go there. Well, thank you, Bridget. I think this was so
Oh, thank you.
enlightening for people, and you're just so sweet and wonderful. And I think you are a perfect example of someone that is just an excellent VA, and just I don't even like really consider you a VA. I consider you so much more than that.
Mm.
Because what you do is so much bigger. And I think that's something that naturally also happens if you want it to. If you
Yeah,
want it to, it becomes bigger than that. And wherever you're at, I think if you're someone that's curious about this, if you're someone that wants to give this a try, it's worth it. I think it's just worth going through the Virtual Assistant Academy, seeing if it's a good fit for you, you know, trying on a couple different placements maybe.
yeah, because the range of clients can be all over the place. Yeah, you can dive into whatever field you like. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the great thing about going through it with Molly's program, because Molly's really good at being a bit of a chaperone for that,
Yeah.
and kind of letting you know, hey, I mean, I've heard her just off the cuff talk about things sometimes and be like, okay, well, I have this one client right now, but they're way more corporate. They're demanding X, Y, and Z. They want someone that's going to be able to show up to regular conference calls or all this stuff. And then people like me that are completely opposite of
Yeah.
that, you know? So there's a wide range of different jobs. And if it's what you need right now is some extra supplemental income, or
Yeah.
the ability to have the flexibility and work from home and build upon and make your own hours, then I hope this serves you. You can click the link below. There'll be the link for you to check out Molly's Virtual Assistant Academy. And like I said, for those of you guys that join through my link, please let me know, because I like to gift you my Earn with Intention course to help you release any money blocks you might have and get you into that flow of loving money and receiving abundance. I think it goes hand in hand with taking the aligned action to create more possibilities for money flowing to you by doing the Virtual Assistant Academy. So thank you guys for listening. As always, if you loved it, please hit the subscribe button, leave a comment below, say hi to Bridget, let us know if you're going to join the Virtual Assistant Academy, what you love from this episode. And thanks for listening. Bye.